Now it's up to Collingwood to respond. Both these teams dropped their opening game last weekend. They can ill afford to drop another one tonight. There's the two skippers head-to-head, Daisy Pearce and Steph Chiocci. Saturday night football, and it all comes down to the final term. The D's lead it by a goal.
Emma King with the tap. O'Day comes to meet it, tries to carve a path. Casey standing in her way, keeps it alive for McIntosh. Runs over the top of it, Phillips, who was the player of that third quarter. Oh, McIntosh stayed involved in the contest. Was adjudged to have been held, so she'll send the Pies inside forward 50. Garner presents. Bounced off her back in the end. She'll have to go back and find it. Once again, D's there in number. Hickey thinks her way through things. Pearce elects to kick. Bounces on its point, not surprisingly, given the original trajectory. Mithen. Patterson. Bad for a couple of ACLs getting in through traffic like that. Kick down the line. Good work from Stevens to lay the fist and deny Humphries.
Great story, Brooke Patterson, isn't she? 5-time Tasmanian basketball captain. And then she saw Daisy Pearce speaking at the Melbourne Best and Fairest in 2015, talking about the future of women's football, decided she wanted to be a part of it, went to Darebin to learn to play with Daisy, and now here she is playing AFL with her as well.
And a physio who's now decided to do a PhD investigating the very ACL she's had issues with, so putting her experiences to work as Hickey's dumped in the tackle by King and Bree White. How did Collingwood reinvent themselves here, Katie?
I think they need to be first to the footy. We've seen that Melbourne have they've lifted their endeavour at the contest, and that's what Collingwood were doing at the start. So first to the footy, and they'll be able to link up and get into their forward line.
It's Darcy and Downey. There's nearly a jump ball, and it'll go to Meg Downey, who took front spot. Could be a big contest we reflect on.
So Downey, high kick. McIntosh will fly from the back. Spills to Emma King. Kick goes straight up and will come straight down. Fisted forward by Stevens. Elise O'Day onto it first. Taken in a tackle by McIntosh. It affected the handball and it spills out for a throw-in. There's Elise O'Day. We spoke of her at the start of the night, how important she is in that Melbourne midfield. She's had the 10 possessions, 6 tackles. She's had an impact. Paxman on 14 touches, Mithen 13, Pearce 12. They've spread the load a little better, particularly since half-time. White tried to back out of that contest. Eva in there scrapping hard for the Magpies, rather, against Grierson. That's Jasmine Grierson, 18-year-old from Mitcham. Ball hits the deck. Socket off the ground. Getting there first was Mithen. Good hands from the D's. Hickey, beautiful handball, releases Humphries into space. She can run on. She can run all the way to 50. She's had 3 bounces. Emma Humphries looks for a target. She'll go deep. It was the wrong option. And Bernardi can pick it off. Can Collingwood now counterpunch? Bernardi, deep in her own defence, goes to Stevens and finds her at defensive 50. Stevens on the half volley. It was an awkward one for White. O'Day will take it away. Go inside 50 and find the skipper. Daisy Pearce, 30 metres out, slide angle. And a chance to double Melbourne's lead. Six-time All-Australian. Tugs that kick. It's still alive for the D's. It's a mark. Well, everything's gone right for them since half-time. Shelley Scott. And what a story Shelley is. Comes from Garangamete, just past Colac. She milks 140 cows every morning and then comes to training. Runs around, no one on the goal line, and she bounces it through. Well, that's one of the cardinal sins of football, Katie Brennan.
I think Collingwood will be a little bit disappointed with that they didn't have a tall guarding that line there. They just caught him by surprise, I think. Great goal by Shelley Scott, though.
She hit it skinny. And it bounced through the unguarded goal line, and Melbourne now lead by 12 points. Well, Shelley Scott has had a football in her hand all her life, but she's a gun netballer down Colac Way, one of the finest ever. She's only played 10 games of footy in her life. She's probably never bounced for a goal like that. The cardinal sin from the Collingwood defence.
And that is 5 goals in 17 minutes of game time to the D's. Maybe the most devastating burst we've seen in the competition so far. Will it be enough? Collingwood still have a say. White sends the kick forward. Downey bought herself some time and was taken out of the contest by Casey. And that may involve a date with the MRP for Sophie Casey, who we know is renowned for a tough style of footy, and Meg Downey still on the ground after that hit. Such an important player for the D's in defence from the St Kilda Sharks, as Jace mentioned before, started her footy at Bullen down in the Allenbank League, playing up until under 13s. Melbourne Medicos on the scene and indicating that they need the stretcher out. We'll see the contest here. She tapped the ball away and looks like she actually lost her footing, just bobbled on that ankle, so she was certainly exposed, and Casey making contact, so stretcher out on the ground, and this will stop the game clock. Just shy of 10 minutes of playing time remaining. We take stock on a night where Collingwood owned the opening half of the match. 4 goals to 1 at halftime. They led by 19 points. Mo Hope kicking one of those goals, and then out of nowhere, seemingly, Melbourne with 4 goals in 9 minutes in that third quarter, including 2 to Kat Phillips, as we see the contact front on here as sort of losing of her footing for Meg Downey actually lowered her face into the harm's way of Casey as she came through.
Meg Downey grew up in a dairy farm in Gippsland with 3 brothers, Bulbul. Went to the footy club at age 10. She wanted to play footy. Did so for 4 years until she got too old, couldn't play with the boys any longer. She moved to Melbourne at age 19, joined Eastern Devils, who were East Burwood at the time, played 4 years for the Devils, then focused on her career at ANZ, came back to footy, had a hamstring for all of 2016. So today's just her 3rd game in 4 years for Meg Downey.
So Katie, teams go into their huddles, time to take stock. If you're in the Melbourne camp and you're Daisy Pearce, what's the message right now as we see Collingwood trying to work out how they turn this 2-goal margin around?
Well, they had the experience from last week with the lightning strike and having to stop play and reassess. So I think they would have learnt from last week and everything that happened. And Daisy would just be saying, keep doing what we're doing, keep being first to the contest, keep being hard at the football, and you know, keep pushing it forward into that forward line. They really need to get another goal on the board just to secure this win. And you know, I think Daisy will be leading from the front to do that. We've
seen in your Bulldogs game so far, quite often you've had the ball in hand, and we see that hand motion to talk about trying to slow the game down and take the pace out of it. How conscious do you think Melbourne players are going to be of the clock now? Imagine it's going to be something that's communicated to them. Who are the players around the ground that you see being really important to try and have some calm? Because it has to be said, for all the experience we've spoken about in the Melbourne squad, they've got about half a dozen players who are under the age of 20 who are playing at this level for the first time and really need some leadership put around them.
Yes, certainly, and they'll need to really slow it down and play tempo footy and just take some time off the clock. You know, throw up some grass and pull your socks up when you take a shot at goal. But I think the players to do that will be the Melissa Hickeys, the Karen Paxmans, the Daisy Pearce, that'll be really leading from the front and encouraging those younger girls to do so. We've seen that Lily Mithen is stepping up in this game, and some of those youngsters are taking the lead from those their captains. So I think Melbourne can really lift here and control the football and be really measured with their approach to goal.
So Meg Downey has the neck brace on. They've been extremely cautious with her, the medical staff. And they'll take her straight off the field for further assessment. Mia Ray Clifford goes over to give her words of encouragement.
Structurally, this is important for Melbourne, Jace, not to take the focus off the injury, but Meg Downey's work in defence for Melbourne tonight has been really important, particularly as that drop-off player in front of Mo Hope from time to time.
So just under 10 minutes remaining on the clock. The D's lead it by 12 points as Giray takes off, goes laterally across half-back. It's a dangerous kick. It's a 2-on-1. Darcy couldn't quite hang on to the mark. Hassled by Paxman. Phillips had it and lost it. Here's Smith off half-back. Floats a handball. Bernardi got in the way of O'Day. Slapped it towards King. King throws it on the boot. Her kick only as far as Smith. She's taken down as well. Barden flashed through. O'Day picked up the football. Immediately tackled. And stood up in the tackle. We'll have a stoppage. Melissa Kyes hands the football back. Pearce got the tap through the hands of O'Day. Socket off the deck inside Collingwood's 50, but only momentarily. It's marked by Laura Giray. Lady from Ireland. Puts it out in front of Stevens versus Humphries, and the boundary line wins. Stevens comes down hard and awkwardly on Humphries there. Nothing malicious in it, just a tangle of bodies. Emma Humphrey, she's tough. 22-year-old from the Burnie Dockers. Ball back into play. Can Collingwood find a spark? Here's Bernardi. Slips a tackle. Goes towards Darcy. Has been really impressive in the opening couple of weeks. She's got Hope leading towards the pocket. Heads in that direction. Patterson goes back. Read it beautifully. And takes the intercept mark.
It's really great courage by Brooke Patterson there to take Moana Hope's space and get back and take that grab.
She slides in and finds O'Day. Brooke Patterson was an emergency, came into the selected side with Alicia Newman not taking her place, and it's been a helpful selection for mixed in-ear squad. Berry. Lauren Pearce coming off the bench. Hickey will take on the Kai's tackle, go back to Lauren Pearce. Who channels her basketball to paddle it forward for Paxman, who has to go back and find it. She's claimed by Stevens. Ball comes free in the tackle.
Pearce hurt herself in that contest. She took herself straight back off the ground as well. Immediately subbed herself back out of the game.
But some pretty heavy taping on that right calf of hers as well. So wait to see where we see Lauren Pearce, former WNBL basketballer with Bulleen. So in the meantime, it's Boyd in the ruck. White the clearance. Kick smothered by O'Day, who continues to work. Benici runs out of Princes Park turf. Brittany Benici wearing the helmet after some concussion issues last year playing for the St Kilda Sharks. One of 3 Magpies eligible for the NAB Rising Star in the AFL Women's competition. Opening round nominees, of course, Bailey Hunt from the Bulldogs and Ebony Marinoff, who starred last night for the Crows in their win over the Bulldogs. Mithen, she might be eligible after a pretty handy performance tonight. Just gathers some turf. Won't be out of bounds deliberately. Lily Mithen, 5 possessions in that all-important third quarter. And the inside 50 count, dead even. As we mentioned off the top tonight, you need to be scoring about once every 4 entries to be winning in the NAB AFL Women's competition at the moment. Dee's holding sway on that at the moment as Humphries is slung by Benici. And 3 minutes have been shaved off the clock since Meg Downey went off the ground with that head knock. King into the ruck. Ball squirts forward from Boyd. A big fist from Scott, the recent goal kicker, turned defensive forward. Humphries. Clever play to keep it back inside, and she was taken out of the contest. In fact, it'll be Alicia Eva who was, and she'll take it from half-back.
So the Pies haven't kicked a goal since the 8-minute mark of the second term with Jess Cameron. They need to find 2 here in a hurry. Benici came in hard on Berry. Ball spills out, we'll have a throw in. Grant checks back into the game. King in the ruck against Boyd. There is Grant. Throws it on the boot quickly, bouncing ball towards the wing. Gerardis came through, socketed out in mid-air. Chance now for Pearce. Got a couple of metres on her opponent, Morgan. Pops it to a dangerous spot at centre-half forward, but it was well read by Jess Cameron. Now can Collingwood break off half-back? They need some bold run. They must attack from here. Livingston can chip it back to Cameron. They need to get it and go, the Pies. Barden calls for it in the middle of the ground. Kick partly smothered. King slides in. Morgan keeps it moving forward. Eva takes on O'Day. O'Day gets boot to ball, gains some territory and finds her captain, Daisy Pearce. So the D's with the answers right now as we tick towards 5 minutes remaining. Pearce with her 15th possession. Goes inside 50. Anderson the target. It spills to Livingston. Has a slight fumble. The Melbourne forwards arrive to lock it in, and they do so successfully. They'll have a bounce 45 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
Yeah, although Daisy didn't hit the kick there, it's a great result for Melbourne just to get another stoppage in their forward 50 and just to reset their structure here.
Hickey comes through, Livingston the other way. D still a chance through Pearce. Gets it to Mifsud, has a fumble, leaves it behind. Eva slides in underneath. Umpire says free kick to the Pies. And as the clock continues to tick, 4.5 minutes remaining. Collingwood need to go and go now through Eva.
Send it wide, but numbers once again with the D's. Smith taken out of the contest. Benici wants to find the body to try and clear a path. In the end, she cleared it for herself, goes back in, tackled. And create the stoppage, and they need a few more Brittany Benicis at the moment. Collingwood, as her and Elise O'Day have a laugh after that contest. Conceding significant centimetres. Well done, O'Day, to recalibrate and clear that stoppage. In the Anderson direction, Livingston the fists. Almost a high one. Melbourne fans wanted the free kick there for Jolly. Won't be forthcoming. Every second counting. Another minute shaved off the clock as time continues to be the enemy for Wayne Seekman's team here, facing a zip-2 start to the NAB AFL women's competition. King finds it. Jolly finds her. No effective touch. Benici overrun it. O'Day in there to do the work again. 5 possessions, 2 inside 50s to lead all comers on the ground in this final quarter so far for Elise O'Day. Coming off 18 possessions and 4 tackles last week. King. Jolly held out of it. Just about the only mistake of Nicola Stevens-Knight so far. And Sarah Jolly, who's the dominant player in Division 3 of the VFL women's competition last year. Everything that could be won, she did. Captain of the premiership team, best on ground in the grand final. Best and fairest for her club, Gippsland, and the leading goal kicker as well. As we said, travels from Cobain's beyond Sale to play for the D's, goes short, instinctive, and the emerging story of the night from ultimate frisbee to ultimate demon, perhaps, for Kat Phillips. 2 goals in the third quarter. The distance might test her from here, but any score you'd think would just about put this game in Melbourne's keeping. 7 games last year for Melbourne Uni for Kat Phillips, makes pretty good contact. And it's through for a behind, an important one at that. Now, effectively a 4-score game for the Pies.
Just over 2 minutes remaining. Benici taken down in a strong tackle, holding the football. Elise O'Day has been vigorous tonight, her 15th possession. She's really thrown herself around. Led from the front as the vice-captain. Wants to take Benici on and does. The double fake. Gets it inside 50. And hits Sarah Jolly. 30 metres out directly in front. And a chance for Jolly. 25-year-old, as Nudge said, from Cobain's. Has really increased her work rate over the summer, having played Division 3 football last year. And a chance to finish it off for the D's.
Great work by Melbourne there. One of Collingwood's strengths has been their rebound off half-back, and Melbourne have just stemmed that flow of the football and being able to get their inside 50s and obviously shots on goal there. So great work by Melbourne.
So, Katie, who have you got your eye on for the Host Plus high performance play tonight?
Mine would be Karen Paxman from Melbourne. She's been a great ball winner on inside and outside and amazing skills both sides of her body. So we saw that Melbourne has really lifted.
15 possessions for Karen Paxman, 12 of them contested. Rightly takes the title of the Host Plus Performer of the evening. Stevens desperately trying to create for the Magpies. Eva shares it with Kiochi. This run and carry looks like it might be a little too late for the Magpies. Tumbling kick finds Cameron. Kick the goal in the opening half. We'll send it deep for Hope, who's got out the back. Just evades her in the end. Clifford and Mithen collapse on her Head downstairs to Sam Lane as Mo Hope dishes out some tough stuff to Lily Miffin.
Guys, good news officially out of the Melbourne rooms. Meg Downey, who we saw go down and taken off on a stretcher, she has regained consciousness and is talking. That's word from the club.
Thanks, Sam. Great news for Meg Downey and the D's. Lampard, King for the Pies. But once again, Melbourne outnumbering in the contest. Jolly, the most recent goal kicker. Erin Stevens can't find it. Vicky diving through on the scene. This was Jazzy Grierson, who was the sole goal kicker last week for the D's tonight. A lot more involved in that conversation. Kat Phillips with a couple, and they've kicked more than the winning score tonight. Hutchins back to Livingston, who'll send one into orbit. And Melbourne, a massive, massive win for them. They keep their NAB AFL women's competition season alive. 19 points down at the half, and in the end, 19-point winners.
So the D's kicked 6 goals, 2 to no score in the second half. Come from 19 points down at half-time and score a 19-point win. 7-2-44 to Collingwood, 4-1-25, and square their ledger at 1-1 for the season. It was a remarkable turnaround. For 6 quarters of football, they looked rudderless in their forward half of the ground. And then they lit things up in the third term. They kicked 4-1 to no score. They found a way, the likes of Kat Phillips and Jess Anderson, just giving them a presence inside 50. They found avenues to goal. And Katie, they found the confidence that came from that, and they looked a completely different side once that confidence came.